Lieutenant Governor Peter Kinder joins us on a busy morning. Good morning, Peter Kinder.
Thank you for having me, McGraw.
You got it. You sent out a couple of tweets this morning that sort of caught our attention, which is why we invited you on the show. First off, you had a number of conversations with the mayor of Ferguson before last night?
Well, the mayor of Ferguson, James Knowles, is a friend, not a close friend, but a friend of, 15 years or something. And he called me in the wee hours with a desperate phone call that I got up at 5:30 this morning and heard his message. He was calling, asking for anyone in state government to help because of what he claimed was a complete abdication of responsibility by Governor Nixon. This was a desperate reaching out by Mayor Knowles while his city was burning, and the National Guardsmen were being held back. The National Guardsmen, who the governor mobilized and declared a state of emergency, almost a week ago, were somehow held back. The mayor pleaded for them to be sent in, and apparently it fell on deaf ears. I spoke with him very early this morning when he returned my call, and he's crying out for someone in state government to exercise some leadership. Now, the lieutenant governor has no constitutional power or statutory power to act here. All executive authority rests with the governor.
So can we assume that he tried to reach out to the governor and ask the governor to send in some of the troops, and did he reach the governor? Was he rebuffed by the governor? Did he get a hold of the governor?
I don't want to go on record as saying how far the communication reached, but I know he tried. I know Mayor Knowles tried to reach out to the chief executive of this state, who, by the way, has not been communicating with him over the 3 3.5 months since this erupted on the 9th of August. Mayor Knowles would be a good guest for you, McGraw, to have on and ask him how many times he's spoken to Governor Nixon, how many times the governor's called him, and here we had all this lip service paid in the days and hours leading up to the decision at 8 p.m. last night, and the governor holding a press conference late afternoon at which he read the prepared script. And now we have this eruption of violence, and the National Guard was apparently kept away instead of responding.
What's interesting as you sit and watch over the last weeks of this, Lieutenant Governor Peter Kinder, is that when Governor Nixon called the state of emergency and said that the National Guard would be up, he was criticized for it. He was criticized because he's militarizing the police. It's a show of force. We don't need it. What is going on? He's being reckless. And then last night, not just the mayor of Ferguson, but everybody across the board seems to be begging for more police force, and we did not have enough police presence last night.
McGraw, I will put this question out there. It's one that you and other people with a media megaphone must put to the governor. Here's my question. It is so inexplicable. It is so hard to understand why the governor would not deploy the forces that he had at the ready, that he had mobilized, that I had this question. Is it because he was leaned on not to send them in, leaned on by the Obama administration and the Holder Justice Department? I think Missourians are scratching their heads and wondering why the guardsmen who were ready, who were at the ready, who've been trained to stop this at the first sign of an overturned police car or a smashed police car window or somebody trying to torch a business, why they were not sent in. And a reasonable question to ask is, did Eric Holder or someone else in the Obama administration lean on the governor, either in person or on the phone, saying, don't send in the National Guard? All we know is that the governor did not deploy the forces that could have stopped this while Ferguson burned, and while Mayor Knowles told me he watched businesses burn from his back porch as he cried out to the governor for action.
Lieutenant Governor Peter Kinder, let me ask you the question. Do you know of any evidence of the Justice Department leaning on Governor Nixon and telling him not to deploy the national troops?
I do not know. I'm looking for the dog that did not bark. McGraw. I'm looking for an explanation of the otherwise inexplicable failure to do what the governor said he was going to do.
Lieutenant Governor, if you were governor of Missouri, what other things would you have done differently last night in leading up to this?
Well, I think I would have, in counsel with the prosecutor, Bob McCullough, who I thought delivered a fine statement and press conference and stood there and answered the questions from the media to their satisfaction. I think I would have suggested to all concerned that announcement be at 6 a.m. today instead of 8 p.m. last night. That's one thing. I would have, having declared a state of emergency and deployed the National Guard to the area close by, I would have sent them in at the very first sign of trouble. Instead, hours went by, Kelly, while businesses burned, and at least a dozen that we know of, and the police chief is saying he heard at least 150 shots being fired. Now, when you have shots being fired at peace officers who stand in the breach for all of us, and shots being fired at our heroic firefighters, that's why you have the National Guard. Why do you keep that undeployed when you've mobilized the National Guard and have them at the ready?
Lieutenant Governor
These
Peter.
are questions the governor has to answer.
Lieutenant Governor Peter Kinder, one more final question for you this morning. The former mayor of Ferguson has said and made mention of this morning that Governor Nixon should resign. I don't know about resign. Should he be impeached?
I'm not going to go there, McGraw. I'm just not going to go there. That's not my place. I don't have a vote on it. Others can have that discussion.
Certainly understandable.
Okay.
Lieutenant Governor Peter Kinder, thank you for joining us on a very busy morning and a sad morning.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
8:55 here. Big